Sometimes, the ones who stay are the ones who never promised to. And sometimes, they are not even human. His family left him. The world forgot him. But every night, a stray cat came back to him, until the day he died. And what the cat did next made an entire town cry. At the edge of a quiet town lived an old man named Walter. Once he had a full life, a family, laughter, and a home filled with noise. But time took everything away. His children moved away, and slowly they stopped calling, until one day no one came back. Then, one cold night, a small stray cat appeared outside his door. Walter gave it a piece of bread, and for the first time in years, he didn't feel alone. He named the cat Shadow. From that night on, Shadow never left. Walter would talk to him for hours, and Shadow would simply listen. No words, but he stayed. As the months passed, Walter grew weaker, but Shadow never left his side. Even during storms, he always came back. One morning, Shadow tried to wake him, but Walter didn't move. The neighbors found him, gone, but not alone. At the funeral, a small cat followed silently. No one had seen anything like it. As they lowered the coffin, Shadow sat beside it and refused to leave. Days passed, but the cat kept coming back. Rain or shine, he stayed. In a world full of people who leave, a small creature chose to stay. Without promises, without words, but with a love that never left. True love is not about who stays when it's easy, but who stays when there's nothing left. If you were Walter, who do you think would stay with you until the end? But the story didn't end there, because some love refuses to be forgotten. Every morning, before the sun fully rose, Shadow would already be there, sitting quietly beside Walter's grave, not moving, not making a sound, just staying. At first, people didn't understand. They thought it was just a coincidence, a stray cat wandering around. But days turned into weeks, and weeks into months, and still the cat never left. Rain would pour, soaking the ground beneath him, but Shadow stayed. The sun would burn, and the air would grow heavy, but Shadow stayed. Even on the coldest nights, when the wind howled through the cemetery, the small cat remained, curled up beside the grave. The townspeople began to notice. They would pass by and see the same thing, over and over again. Some tried to take him home, to give him shelter, to give him warmth, but every single time, Shadow would slip away and find his way back to Walter. One little girl once asked her mother, "Why does the cat stay there?" And her mother didn't know what to say. Because how do you explain a love that asks for nothing and still gives everything? One afternoon, a man who used to know Walter came to visit the grave. He hadn't seen him in years. He hadn't called. He hadn't come back. And when he saw the cat sitting there, unmoving, faithful, he froze. Because in that moment, he realized something heavy, something painful. The cat did what he never did. It stayed. And for the first time, the man broke down, crying right there beside the grave, not because Walter was gone, but because he understood, too late, what it meant to stay. From that day on, the story spread, from one person to another, until the entire town knew about the cat who never left. They brought food. They built a small shelter nearby. They tried to make it easier for him. But even then, Shadow never moved far, never too far from the one he refused to leave. Seasons changed, the trees lost their leaves and grew them back again, but Shadow stayed the same. Until one quiet morning, when the sun rose and the town slowly came to life, Shadow didn't move. He was there, curled up beside the grave, just like always. But this time, he wasn't breathing. The townspeople gathered in silence. No one spoke. No one needed to, because they all understood. They buried him right beside Walter, and above the two, they placed a small sign. It didn't have many words, just a simple message. He never left. And maybe that was enough. Because in the end, love doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't need promises. It doesn't even need words. It only needs one thing: to stay.